How long's the consulting business been going now?
The mentoring goes, it's the third year now, like into the third year. Yeah.
Okay.
So after selling the previous consulting business, that's basically the full second year now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How do you? I don't think I've asked you before how you got started with the mentoring. Like, what was the first step? You sold your company,
Yeah.
and then did you take some time
Yeah.
to reevaluate things, or what
Yes,
happened
definitely.
on the day you sold? Like, what happened the next morning when you woke up?
Yeah, I was pretty confused about everything. It's like mixed feelings. Sad. At some point, really sad. Like because you basically said goodbye to a lot of people, and obviously there's a lot of beef coming up. People are really mad at you. You're leaving the ship. You're the captain.
Because the whole company was sold, right?
Yeah.
Not you didn't just exit; it was the whole company was sold off.
I exited the company and I had a business partner. He stayed within the company. Yeah, so he stayed within. But it was interesting to see because you had obviously people following, one partner a little bit more because we were double CEOs and shareholders. So it was all our own. It was bootstrapped. And yeah, I could see like a lot of people got really frustrated after that, like that message came out. Some people were really happy, obviously, so that was nice to see. But a lot of people really got mad, like it got really emotional. That was hard. Anyway, that made me, of course, also think a little bit like, that is there a right step too? Should I not do it? But after the move, I mean, at some point you need to trust your gut feeling. It was like a back and forth, back and forth. Am I going to do it? Am I going to not? Timing good, timing bad, pros and cons 24/7. But I made the decision. I was happy with it. And then it's like the next day, like I was kind of relieved. I think that's the best description. I was relieved because the whole selling period, the exit, it takes 6+ months. It takes a lot of due diligence and all that. Lawyers, we had business units in 4 countries. And remember when like there was a video conference on the day of the actual sale, like because we had to basically we signed with authorized lawyers in the different countries. I was in Cyprus, so we did it all like in the same time. It was like a movie. I felt like in a movie. It's like, okay, we're gonna do it, and that was fun. That was exciting, but it was stressful. Really, really stressful, obviously, because when they're doing the due diligence, I mean, they're just trying to find anything that's going to depreciate the value. And I prepared for this for over 2 years, this exit move. I had a special mentor.
To get the company valuation
Yes,
up and get the
yeah.
multiple up,
It
systemized.
Yes, like getting the cash flow away from Germany a couple of years before, because the German company should be, less value, get it into the holding more. So that took a couple of years preparation. And we had one mentor that specifically mentored us just to prepare for the exit. He was like, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. We need to prepare this. We need to prepare this. I was like, that was a lot of work, a lot of administrational work. At the end, that actually worked out. And on the day or after, I felt relieved, I would say. It was like mixed feelings, definitely. And I needed to take time off. I was dead. It was shortly before Christmas. I remember that, like the actual sale then. And I was really dead.
So you felt comfortable. You weren't thinking like, like, do I need to get a new income stream coming in or anything?
No,
like that?
no, I wasn't worried about that. It's like, okay, there's one part in my mind that was already, while doing it, was thinking, okay, what's the next step? But I kind of wanted to take time off. That was very tough because you're always in this hustle mode. So, and you need time to reflect, because what would have happened is I would just do the same shit again. That was like that happened almost automatically. It's like, okay, I'm selling this one. I'm just gonna start. And at some point I was like, wait, why should I build the same? It makes no sense. I need to do something else, slightly different. And then when I said, okay, I'll take a couple of months off. Let me really think. So I said the next 3 months, I need to get out of this hustle mode. And that took really 2-3 months. And then you had completely different thoughts about, okay, how were the previous 10 years, building that company? What went good? What went bad? Like, what do you want to do in the future? It's like, yeah, you had a good exit. But there needs to be coming something after. Of course, I can chill a bit, but that's not me. So I need a purpose as well, not just financially, and that was very difficult because my mind constantly told me you should basically do the same. It makes no sense. So I was talking to a lot
That's
of
what's
people.
comfortable, right?
Yeah, because I know I can do it,
But not
right?
challenging.
Yeah, but why I should do that? And at the same point, I was like, this was a great journey, but at the same time, sometimes horrible because we had up to 100 employees over different countries, and that was super stressful. You had times, every entrepreneur knows that, where you really you're almost jumping from this famous edge, and I was like, no, I don't want this big company anymore. That was something that developed in my head. Like, I want to do something different. It needs to work different. I don't want to have 50 plus people again. Because it's a kindergarten. It's pure kindergarten. It's like, it's very time intensive as well. So I want to work on something where you have more time for family, enjoy also more the life, so the balance, and you like what you're doing. And then that was a long thought pattern. I needed to talk to a lot of people in the field of business that I was operating, plus outside. And I think outside was more valuable because the people who were in the IT consulting,
Outside your industry, I mean.
yeah, outside the industries, really talk who has done this. So I talked to other mentors and who sold companies before. It's like, how did you make this next step? How much time you should spend between really taking off. And they really said the core message was you need to take time off, really don't work on a laptop, don't use your do something completely else, and you need to force yourself. And then talking to people outside, it was like, okay, what do you think was the biggest value, or is the biggest value that I can deliver to people or businesses? What could be the next thing? That was basically a discussion I usually had. My dad had a couple of good points. I remember a couple of years ago then, or 2-3 years ago, we were sitting at the pool. We were in Cyprus. And he gave me some good advice. Actually, probably led to the point doing this mentoring business. It was yeah, but look, you built your own companies, you scaled them, you helped many people and businesses along the way. It's you told me about this guy, you told me about this business. It's obviously you can help people.
That's just people you mentor, just
exactly
as a friend
on the side, yeah,
just to help them out.
Exactly. And then I was okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And I was okay, let me think about it. I had an idea, to do something with Cyprus as well, because you're already on this dream island. So how can you combine everything? So this idea needed to develop. It's really, and at some point I was yeah, this helping other businesses walk the same path is kind of a thing I really enjoyed during my businesses, but I never really had time to focus on. It worked, but I didn't take any money. It was pure support. I liked doing it. I was okay, this could be a thing. And I was really thinking, okay, how to set up a company? How can I use that USP? And then obviously talking to more people is that, well, if you're especially on a German market, your name is connected, or your company name is connected to Microsoft, to SAP businesses. You're one of the leading players, especially in the Microsoft field with your companies. You need to utilize this. I mean, and then did the test. I was okay, let's do it. I just went out, did some lead generation all by myself at the beginning, no team, nothing. I was let's see if it works. And it was I just posted on Facebook, so in some groups. I was let's see what happens. First, the foodie founder, which is now a friend.
Posting, asking like make an offer to
Yeah,
work
like
with you, or just posting up
who
content?
needs help? Like guys, like I'm looking for sharing my experience, sharing my advice. Let's sit down one to one. I didn't have even a price or nothing. I was just who will bite? Yeah. And I was like, I remember one of the first guys I met was the foodie founder. We had a talk. He said, well, this is pretty cool. I like the idea. And then I got the first client pretty fast. And I was like, shit, I need to do a price. So I just came up with a price. It was like 25K for 6 months. Just, I was orientating to other mentors, like the programs in a similar field. Yeah, sounds good. Let's do it. Okay, that works pretty good. So, okay, it's not about the money first. Let's really give value. So it's like, okay, how am I going to build all this thing up? And based on the first 1-2 test clients, I would say, I was like, okay, this really works because you can see quick benefit for their value. And then I started to realize actually how much experience and value you developed in 10, 15 years in this field. And the challenge was bringing it to paper, like digitalize it, because what I didn't want to do is have 100 one-to-one clients Monday through Sunday doing 1-hour sessions. Then I could do the other business as well again. Yeah, and then I worked on that, and basically I saw, okay, there is a need on the market. There's a high value, so it's a high ticket price as well. Now it's about building the team again, and step for step, it worked, and pretty much scaled pretty fast, I would say as well.
Who do you have on your team now then for the mentoring business?
I got lead generators, appointment setters, 2-3 guys, really good guys. They're using all the social media platform for pure cold outreach, some content engaging. Then I got the sales team, sales reps, who do the setting and closing calls. I got a copywriter, who helps with the content, obviously. A videographer with the whole branding around. I got one business partner who I would say supervises the whole sales process, especially that.
Operations?
Yes, yeah, because he's that's his core expertise. There's a very delicate sales process in the IT. But at the end it's the same like everywhere else. And I got one other coach that's helping coaching the people as well, because obviously now after time we have different kind of levels and programs and the clients. So I want to concentrate on the VIP one-to-one clients who are on a business level, and other ones can help, let's say without judgment, the lower levels or not so experienced people, because now we develop different kind of programs to help them. Yeah. But that's how it started, and that's where we are basically right now. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Having the whole team together in a couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we've got the retreats as well.
Yes,
Gonna be
it's
happening.
in 2-3 weeks. Yeah.
What are your plans after that? How you'd expand this mentorship more vertical, wider? Like what do you have in mind, or you just?
I want to make it bigger. I think number one goal is to get more eyeballs, more attention, because I realized it's very valuable, the lessons that I can teach, the experience, the pitfalls, especially also the program, the mentoring that we built. You can see clients closing 75, 100K with one close for one client. So that's amazing to see. I want to give more or get more eyeballs, be on more stages physically as well, because right now it was purely digital. Now we're doing the first mastermind with people flying in. You're speaking on that as well. I want to go to more masterminds as a speaker, which is also happening next week or in 2 weeks at Christian's mastermind. I want to go on bigger stages in Germany, especially for the IT freelancing and business consulting field. There's a couple of events where it's like, okay, I want to get on that stage. Maybe on Cyprus as well. What was the Reflect Festival and stuff like that? That's a goal for next year as well. Yeah. Simply reach more people, because I feel I can help more and take it from there. It's enjoyable. I still try. It's a challenge to keep this balance always, because I always tell myself this business should be firstly enjoyable and valuable for clients, enjoyable for me and my family, and valuable for the clients. And the challenge is that it picks a little bit too fast, or it's a little bit too fast, or I dedicate a little bit too much time, because then you're back in the in the first business where you're working a lot.
Yeah.
And that challenge is something that I always need to remind myself of. Let's keep it at that level where it's fun. You can generate value, and the money comes as always if you do value.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in having like the what I call the infinity model. Something scalable at the bottom.
Yeah.
And this is what I've done now. I'm in the niche of the gym owners, and fitness professionals. And so, back in like 2016, I started very similar lines to you. Like, sold my first gym. I started posting saying, "Hey, anyone want help with this?"
Yeah.
I didn't actually think people would actually pay for it.
Same.
Even the whole coaching expert industry was relatively new back then. And I went through that cycle of having all the one-to-ones, going very high-end, doing equity deals deals was the next level up. And I spent a long time trying to go vertical and looking for like, what's the next biggest thing I can sell? And I guess the mistake was, you realize every market has a limit.
Yeah.
You're going to price yourself.
Yeah.
Even if I've got the skill to sell a $70,000 thing, there's no gym owner who can afford a $70,000 thing.
Yeah.
And, I got a bit burned out then and had to scale things back.
Yeah.
And I've rebuilt things this year now and gone the more wide approach.
Yeah.
So I launched like a lower cost recurring membership platform now, gym school.
Yeah.
So
On school? On school?
No, everyone asks that, but it's not on school. I don't know why everyone asks me that, but no, nothing to do with the school platform. But then I've just packaged all my information, knowledge, all my programs, all in one place. We do live calls twice a week with everyone, and all I gotta do is sell that for like under $100 now per month.
Yeah.
And that's been so much fun now, just having that one thing as a base where any prospect can just go into and afford.
So it's a community aspect.
Yeah. And even before that now, I've gone the route of selling like very low ticket info products. So we can run our advertising, liquidate our ad spend on a $27 like workshop recording.
Yeah.
Like a 2-hour product I recorded once. Sell that for $27.
Yeah.
That liquidates the ad spend, and then we have upsells into the membership on the next page. We get about a 40% upsell from cold traffic.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty
more
good.
than I thought it was going to be. And that's not we're not doing a $1 trial or anything yet. It's just straight in on like the monthly price. And and now we've got that scalable base, and it's just very easy to upsell from within now. If I want more consulting clients, I want to launch a retreat, I just put a post in the group of my buyers.
Yeah.
Say, hey guys, thinking of doing a retreat in 2 months. Who'd love to come?
Yeah.
Oh, me, right.
So it's really building the community, right?
Essentially, like that paying that low cost paid like membership. I found that's been a good way for me to kind of be, and that's where my goal is now to take that to 1,000 members.
Yeah, that's a good. I heard that from different people as well.
And, that might take 2 to 5 years, but that's just the easy goal now, and let the recurring revenue just build up from that.
Yeah.
And ironically, it's easier than ever. I get more people now asking for one-to-one help.
Yeah.
Because I've got the community building.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you've thought anything similar to doing that with your knowledge down the road or anything.
It's very interesting. Yes, we are discussing this right now because we did with the mentoring. We did a different approach now. We started everything one-to-one, high ticket, VIP, because I wanted to have the perfect
the cash flow.
The good cash. I wanted to have a good program. I wanted to see where's the pitfalls, when are they having success at what point. So based on that, I could see, okay, this is working. They are really good clients. You have some successful, obviously you also have some unsuccessful clients. So it's like, okay, where's the margin between? So, and then we started creating different kind of layers of packages, something in between, and then lower price to build a community. Because then it's also we basically we have a community in Telegram, and it's the same approach. It's a low ticket price. I want to get as many people in there as I. At some point, we give it away for free. Join the live calls, come into the training. Really low ticket info products. Same strategy, because I want to have this community. Because it's exactly what you said. Upselling on that makes
downselling too.
Or downselling is possible, and
that's what I find is now that basically, especially if you just have if you have like an upfront for the year annual price, you know, like say like $1,000 for the year, or you pay $200 a month, and then your sales guys always have something that they can if they can't get the high ticket sale on a sales call, they've always got that. Well, hey, worst case, why don't we just put you into our 1 year
that makes sense. Yeah,
and it's just $997, and then see how you like it, and do your mentoring later. So they've always got that to get people on. It's also a good thing when people finish their mentorships. They finish a 90-day or 6-month program with you. What then? We say, well, either we renew the mentorship,
yeah,
or
that's a good point.
Or they say, no, I'm pretty good from here. Great, let's just get you into the community then. So you still have access to me.
That's a good point.
We still keep you accountable. It's $1,000 or whatever it is a year.
Because that's actually a challenge that we are facing right now after having a couple of iterations. Even like you can see, the upsell is a complete different process. It's not a normal sales process, right?
Yeah.
So, and you got this, like, especially on business side, you're successful the first 6 months, maybe a second round of 12 months. You have like, now I can do it on my own, like, and it's a little bit difficult to get this mindset out. And of course, you can objection handle. I always like the analogy is like, do you take a tennis coach, half a year and then say, well, the rest becoming professional, I can do on my own. Makes no sense. But of course, people are.
I guess because when we do sell higher ticket packages, short term, we are usually basing it on the value proposition that we have knowledge they haven't learned yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I used to get frustrated with all this stuff, but over time, like 10 years of coaching people, mentoring people now, I've kind of come around to the idea that, yeah, I get it. Like I think they do understand. They've learned enough from the first round that they probably they do want to keep learning more, but not for the same high ticket price tag.
That's interesting. Yeah.
But when I ask them, like, what would you benefit most at this point? You know what to do, great. Yeah. But what now? And then it's usually, it's just, well, if I could just check in with you, have a bit of guidance or feedback now and then, a community, bounce ideas off. The live events, everyone says to me, they say, like, do you have a program where I can just come to your live events twice a year?
It's interesting. We had the same feedback right now. Yeah. Like this week, literally this week we had.
So, and that's actually what I did then. What I did before, with the monthly like mastermind kind of program, was, so we would do 2 retreats a year in the package. So I set out. This is not for gym owners. This is in my general coaches consultants niche. I had a mastermind, like, worked out about $300, $400 a month.
Yeah.
For those who didn't want to take the high-end one-to-one coaching, and so I decided I wanted to see how I could make it the best package possible in a 1-year mastermind. And I heard this feedback. Everyone's really into the events. So what I decided to do, one trick I learned back, I can't remember where I learned, like maybe Dan Kennedy or some marketing guru back in the day says, sometimes you can boost sales of an offer just by switching the elements. Make the main feature your bonus. Yeah. And make one of the bonuses the main feature, because you might be surprised what people actually buy for. Yeah. So I was positioning the modules, the content, the syllabus as the main thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, and you, well, actually no, sorry, I was trying to sell my retreats. Yeah. Like, hey, my retreat is, it's like 2K, 3K, and plus I'll give you a bonus of our online course content, And then I switched that around and said, the 1-year mastermind, you get all the course content, but I'm going to give you a bonus $4,000 retreat included, all for $1,000. Yeah.
And that's pretty good.
I
Yeah.
owe $1,500.
Yeah.
So actually, what I was doing is I'm actually just trying to sell the retreat for
Yeah.
$1,500.
Yeah.
But I said, hey, the course is worth $1,500. The retreat is valued at $4,000. But you get that free, you get a free ticket.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
And they were like, I get the retreat free when I get this.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
And, that's
And then all of a sudden it was like, they love the value in it then. So sometimes
it's just a repackaging, right? Yeah.
repackaging, yeah. So yeah, we did this with a relationship coach in New York as well. So big high ticket relationship coach who was selling $25,000 packages to most like 40 plus women in New York, like career women, lawyers, doctors who are focused on their careers, got to 45 and realized, oh shit, my husband.
Yeah.
And so, they paid big money
Yeah.
for that. So they had, she had a similar problem. We helped her build a sales team. She had 4 salespeople. They're closing 10, 20K packages all day. But then again, it's like, what now? What now? These clients are getting results. They're getting married off.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, what now?
Yeah,
Where's the aftercare? So we did the same thing. We made like an institute program, a 1-year, feminine institute kind of pack thing. And the way I see it now is like that. I think that scalable model needs to be the base of the business in any expert info business. I think that community needs to be the base.
Yeah.
That all roads lead towards. I see it like that now.
So building the community, the base, being
where it's like, look, your aim is to get customers in there, and if you can get them in there plus order bump into a high ticket short-term program as a bonus to increase your lifetime value, great.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if they don't take the high ticket, they go into the community.
Yeah.
If they do take the high ticket, they then go into the community.
Then they go.
Because people teach it like a pyramid. I used to teach it like you have your community at the base, you have maybe your do it together group programs in the middle, and your one-to-one or done for you at the top. Now I teach it as a circle.
Makes more sense. Yeah, I like that.
It's a cycle now. It's like, no, all roads have to go back to the community.
That makes sense. Because you have this, exactly what we're discussing, you have this problem. What comes after this one-to-one? You hit the plate. That was a good example. The woman get married.
Yeah.
What you do now?
So why try and work hard to get a client for 90 days, even though they're high ticket, when you could have them in the community for the next 13 years?
Yeah. Lower price.
Start looking at real LTV.
Yeah.
So
that's very interesting.
But I think I talk to a lot of experts now, and I say I think you want to think about getting that baseline model as soon as possible. I think a lot of coaches wait too long.
Mm-hmm.
When it's so easy to start with a version 1 of something, which could literally, you could just go and, I think you need, if you have your content syllabus, like you just go and record a 3-hour workshop with all your main bits. Here's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. There's your content. You can give it all to them or drip it out month by month. Some kind of community chat platform like Telegram or Facebook group or whatever. That's pretty much all you need, right? Content and community.
Yeah.
And you can make those things in a day if you have the expertise.
Yeah, that's true.
And then it's just traffic after that.
Yeah.
And so...
That makes sense, like that.
If you have an audience already of prospects, unconverted, you can easily launch, probably sell 10, 20, 50 spaces.
Yeah.
And then you have the version 1 iteration going. This is what I wish I'd done from the beginning. But again, I spent a year doing high ticket, one-on-one stuff. But you're always just then eventually chasing more money.
Yeah.
There's no base you've actually built.
Yeah.
And then I had to go, like a few months later, when I built the platform, I then had to go back to my old clients and say, hey, do you still want help? And a lot of them maybe weren't that interested at that point. It wasn't as hot. So, I've learned, like, make that the base, the content, your digital content plus a community group. And that's the base of all my programs now. And if there is any high ticket one-to-one stuff, that client still gets all the base stuff. Yeah. But I'm just going to take them out for one-to-one calls as well.
Yeah.
And I just found that was much more evergreen.
It makes sense.
Instantly scalable business. Because the other thing is, you never know when you're going to get a traffic opportunity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you said you're looking for more events. And so if I connect you with someone and they have a giant tech event on the island and you go and speak, and then you have 300 tech people want your help right now. What do you sell them?
Yeah, true. You can't do one-on-one.
Or I tell coaches, like the relationship coach, I call it the Oprah test.
Yeah.
I say, if Oprah Winfrey came across your stuff and invited you on her show right now, and you want eyeballs, you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, be careful of wishing for it when you actually get it, right? Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
I say, if you got 1 million eyeballs right now,
could you handle
would it either make your business or break your business?
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
You know, and most people do the Oprah test and they go, no, if I had that, if Oprah promoted me right now, everything would melt, right?
Yeah.
The systems would break.
Yeah.
And so really, technically, your business is not then scalable.
Yeah.
Unless it can pass the Oprah test.
Yeah.
And if somebody did want to put, if 300 customers or an affiliate or someone did promote you, you could accept those payments, fulfill the service at scale, without any major disruption.
Then that's a successful Oprah. I like that. Well, it's very well put. I like the community aspect of building on top of that, because there is a customer value, long-term customer value. How we build, or the current business, it's scalable like this, because I think now really thinking of the Oprah test, tomorrow 300 customers will come sign up. All one-to-one? Definitely not. We have different layers of customers. So we have the group customers, we have like semi one-to-one kind with other coaches, and of course the one-to-one. So we could actually handle the 300 because they're going through the program, right? They have the live calls. We're extending the live calls now on a daily base during the week as well for different kind of topics, lead gen, sales, ads, and all that stuff. But yeah, that I like that, because then your business is not scalable. I completely agree. Yeah, and that's something I didn't think of, this community aspect before when starting this business, because I was concentrating first on getting, what is a customer willing to spend, and what kind of value can I really bring? So that was a little bit back and forth. So getting one-to-one clients, okay, done. We can do that. Building the deeper layers, how you described it as well. And it's not I like the description. It's not a pyramid. It's a circle, right?
And more than that, really, I guess it's an ecosystem.
Yeah.
Because
feeds itself.
I'm guessing, like in your industry, the same as mine, there are layers, like you said. There will be IT businesses who will only invest up to 20K for something, maybe because of the size they are, or the funding they have.
Yeah.
And there are others who will invest 100K.
Yeah, they would. Yeah.
And same with gym owners, same with women looking for a marriage.
Yeah.
Like there's all different levels of what people will invest in. Yeah. And so if you think about it, and I think one thing coaches and like experts fail to understand is that I deal with this with fitness professionals a lot. And I think there's a big misconception in our entire industry, of the expert industry, that if you can sell high ticket, you might have the skills to sell high ticket.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of gurus and people have positioned it that if you can sell high ticket, they tell you you can sell high ticket to anyone. Mm-hmm. And that is not the case.
That's not the case. No, that's not the case.
You have to understand that your market has parameters.
Exactly. Yeah.
You might have the goal, if you're amazing at real estate and you can sell a $2 million Malibu mansion.
Yeah.
Great. You will not sell it to someone who hasn't got a job.
Yeah. True.
Doesn't matter how good your sales. If they're like, well, I like the pitch, but the money is not in my bank account.
Yeah. Nothing you can do.
Right? Nothing you can do. So I think where that hurts a lot of coaches who learn the high ticket sales skills, they then assume they'll get anyone in their market, even the brokies.
Yeah.
And what I made this mistake, and what I had to come to realize is that I need an ecosystem, because really, if I want to go high ticket, that's fine, but you're only going to talk to the top 10% of your market who have that level of employee growth or funding or whatever, or mindset. Fine. But then
what about the
90%?
rest? Right, yeah, exactly.
And so this is where, if you think about it, then your ecosystem, your baseline lower ticket programs are not only they don't only grow your lifetime value as in what you extract, but you're adding to the value of the customer by helping them get to a certain level.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that they can then afford.
Yeah. The high ticket.
So you're actually creating your next level of customer.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you're creating your own pipeline.
Yeah. You're creating your own pipeline. That's very well put.
But the customers are paying you for it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good thing.
You know, and it's like a graduation of levels. So it's like if you just wanted to sell education and you only wanted to target people who have a master's degree only, not degree, not bachelor's, not high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas schools just say, we'll teach you all the levels and you pay us, and they pay, and you know, like I've got my son in like the private school, you know, and they put the price up every year.
Yeah.
So not only do you go up year by year, but they actually increase the price year on year.
Every year. Yeah, I know.
And I was like, I hate paying this, but it's a genius model. They've got my money because they've got my respect for it.
Yeah, they do that
And
too.
I was like, why don't I do this with my customers? Rather than just say, oh, like this gym owner, he's got no money, he's starting out, he doesn't even understand what we're talking about. He hasn't even got the goals of being an entrepreneur. Yeah. So maybe we'll have like freelancers working, they rent out of a gym.
Yeah.
They never think they're going to own their own business. Yeah. They just want to have a paycheck.
But you have to help them get there.
And I would usually think, oh, well, you know, that's not my market.
Yeah.
But, you know, and in the beginning, I think it is good to be hyper-targeted in the beginning to find your feet and get the money coming in. Yeah. But very quickly then, I think scale gets limited because we're trying to go too wide inside a narrow group of customers. Yeah. And we miss this
There's a lot.
Let's just say, hey, let me start with the beginner. What lower price accessible program can I make for them?
Thank you.
And now I'm even getting to the bottom level, and I've done this with relationship coaches, mindset coaches,
and it's
counselors. Where we
very
actually
interesting.
The bottom level you get is actually a certification level.
Yeah.
Because what do freelancers want? If the ones who don't think they care about business that much yet, they care about education. So we actually start looking down the value chain of like, how do I get the widest net of, in my case, personal trainers who think marketing is unethical, they think sales is a scam. They think all business coaches are a piece of shit. Right? But it's the widest base of people. How do I actually get through those people? I don't try and sell them marketing stuff.
No.
I sell them certifications. I sell them what they're looking for, which is my content to those people. This is like what I would use LinkedIn for in my industry. People on pros on LinkedIn don't like marketing. They think they're above that. But if I go and say, when I owned my 30 gyms, one thing that really helped me was the great workout plans that we used. Or we had this protocol.
More accessible, really.
And they're like, okay, so this guy, I get their respect because I'm a technician to these people. And then I'll kind of seed in. Oh, we did Facebook ads and an appointment setting. But if I get their respect on that level, because if I come at those guys with like, hey, do this Facebook ad thing,
that's not.
they're like, no. And so that's what my next plan is now, because I actually want to reach more people. So I'm not so caught up in like I've got to get the cash coming in anymore. Now I'm thinking about how can I change my communication.
It's a very good point.
It's like, no, this is how I want to be. They have to conform to me and do it my way.
That's
because I'm the big dick here. Now I'm more thinking, how could I change my tone? And I learn to communicate better with different people at different levels.
Exactly.
Understand what they're looking for. Understand why they might think what I do is a scam.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And actually speak their language. And I'm starting to do, and now I'm actually finding so many opportunities now, because this is where the mainstream is. With certification providers, I can now approach personal trainer certification providers who have databases of thousands of trainers they've certified, going to these guys saying, hey, would all these trainers you certified, do you think they might like a free workshop on some business building things I've done, or how I manage my finances, or?
No, not it. No.
And they're, there's so many more conversations to have at this level now.
I think that's really good point.
So it's, and this is where I think like scale starts to get unlocked in our industries with mindset. I had a couple of clients in the US, and we did a similar thing. So they're doing mindset at the top level. They work with NBA players, rock stars, like famous. I met some famous people with them. Can't say who they are, NDAs, but they charge like $5,000 a session, and it's like minimum 4 months. And like working with like an NBA, surreal, working with an NBA player you see them in a coaching session that morning, and then we watch the NBA game at night, and you see like that player hits his performance because he had like a bit of a confidence issue, hits it, and then on the TV you see the NBA player sit down and in the break, and he's sitting on the bench, pulls his phone out, and then the coach gets a text message from him saying, "You really helped me." And we're like, "We know, we're watching." That's like surreal, man.
Well, that's cool.
To see a value transmission so fast like that in real life. And so that was like the highest level of what we were doing with these guys. But then again, it's like, well, you can't scale that far through NBA players. So we looked at the same concept. Where does the value chain go down? And where is the most mainstream and accessible place with more associations and groups and communities together that will want and respect mindset work? And we actually came to schools. And we created a mindset program for teenagers and preteens in schools. And then that started rolling out around Florida. Went to one school for like kids with a lot of behavioral issues. They've gone through a lot of like abuse and things like that. And and we'd say, hey, we've got all these. My clients have all this expertise in clinical counseling, mindset, behavior change. They work with athletes, billionaires. Should we come down to the school and give a talk to you guys? And the kids loved it. The teenagers absolutely, because they could connect with them and say, hey, I know what it's like. You feel like you might want to hurt yourself. You might want to be doing drugs or things that you shouldn't be doing because you're really hurting inside for something else. And the coaches would share their struggles, how they've been through all the addictions and things. And the kids loved it. And even the therapists at the school, they were blown away. And it got to a point where all these kids were meeting with therapists appointed in the school. And after a few weeks, the school contacted us back, and they said the kids won't go to the therapist. They're asking for you guys.
Crazy.
They won't. Like one kid's having a meltdown. He got caught with some drugs. He won't talk to the police or his parents. He only wants you. Can you? We're really sorry. Can you come down sometime and pay your fee? And we were just like, why don't we just do a program together and roll it out across the schools?
That was in Florida.
That was in Florida. And that was right before COVID happened. COVID happened we were in 3 schools before, and then COVID happened, and now we've transitioned it online with an app to hit even more kids. And so this is where scale gets unlocked at the mainstream level. And I think I think a lot of coaches and experts will be talking about this, but probably in the next 5-10 years, once the high ticket thing gets
makes total
sense, whatever kind of point. I think I'm usually a few years ahead of the trends with these things. Because I just take action so fast on things. I've been in the business long enough to do it. But I think this is the next kind of thing we'll start talking about more in this industry.
Becoming wider. More mainstream.
It's not trying to target the 1% of people with a wallet. How can you make the most impact on the largest scale? Build that operation. Because you get access to things like funding then. Even our gyms, we get so much more access to funding from government grants because of the work we're doing. We're collaborating with the University of Lancashire right now. They're actually doing a study on our gyms, a scientific study to prove the effectiveness of our gym workouts. Because our average client will lose 20 pounds, 3 to 5% body fat in our 6-week challenge, which is our front end offer. And we've actually got this tested over thousands of clients now. So we've actually got the university doing a 1-year study on us. Or they're really their student volunteers. Because we are then going to be the only gym that has a peer-reviewed published paper that scientifically proves our program.
That's a lot of trust.
Every other gym's program is the same. Their push-ups are the same as our push-ups. We don't have special gravity in our gyms or anything. But the point is we go now and hit the mainstream level. Because then we get access onto the mainstream news. And so you open up to funding, you open up to education centers and schooling. Media is a big one. Where when you go mainstream, so another client of mine, Bogdan in Bucharest, was a Wing Chun instructor. And he wanted to get more eyeballs, more reach. And, again, he was like, I need to just target rich people that want to do Wing Chun. And I was like, well, okay, you can get all 5 of those, and then what? And I said, look, let's just adapt your message for the mainstream.
Yeah.
What do you really, what's the transformation
Yeah.
you're really doing here?
Yeah.
And it's overcoming bullying, and it's an anti-bullying message,
Yeah.
and it's these kind of things. And I was like, that's what the media and the mainstream love. And then maybe in the book might be a case study on this actually. I can't remember, but we got him then. We made a new press release. We positioned him as a personal development and anti-bullying instructor, and we got him then featured. The mainstream, like 9 o'clock news in Romania
Really? Yeah.
invited him to go on and speak on the mainstream
cool,
news. And he's like, a week ago, he's a Wing Chun instructor with 2 classes going on. Now he's on mainstream media and doing and then kicking off a public speaking tour as a personal development expert.
Yeah. Well, that's
Just because of the lessons he's learned through martial arts,
Yeah.
what he actually gives people.
yeah.
And so by taking what you do and making it into the mainstream, we unlock scale through media, funding, education centers, certification providers, more people that can afford your service. But it does require us to change our message
Yeah.
and communicate in a
Yeah.
different way.
Yeah. It's a repackaging of the service, of the
Yeah.
marketing as well.
But the coaches that
Yeah.
do this, and Tony Robbins is
Yeah.
he's the god in this industry. He's known this for 30, 40 years because a lot of people will know what Tony gives you in, I'm not your guru and UPW. That's Tony's base layer.
Yeah.
And people say he's all rah and this. But if you go deeper into his programs at the higher level, he does very spiritual stuff, meditations. He just knows if he puts that on Netflix,
Yeah.
people think he's a cult leader.
Yeah.
Or he's a devil worshiper or something.
Yeah.
So he's very particular on who gets that high level of
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
And the mainstream, the UPW, the pump
Yeah.
up stuff, he knows that resonates with the mainstream, and that's why he went to Netflix with it.
It makes total sense. Yeah. It's very
Netflix,
smart.
another one now. So many coaches and experts could have their stuff featured on Netflix, I believe.
Mainstream.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's super interesting.
Think about what you've done in the tech industry, right? How many people now and in the next 20 years want to build tech companies or will build tech companies? I could be wrong. I'm not the expert, but I would assume tech is still very, very young.
Very young.
At
still.
least when you consider what we have to come with AI and everything else.
There's a lot to come. And
So how many kids, there's going to be so many more kids will get into tech because they'll be using tech from a young age, which means they'll go more into tech jobs
yeah.
when they're, a teenage or
Yeah.
older. So think of the wave of customer base that's coming for you that want to know how to build a tech company
You're
over the next 30 years.
basically starting way earlier in the food chain. And
This was ICU was like where Tony Robbins was when he was selling personal development before it was an industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just a bit of life coaching and NLP back then.
Yeah.
He was like, no, I know this is going to come, and I'm positioning myself now as the guy.
Yeah.
So when the tidal wave of interest does come, I'm the only guy they see.
Yeah.
So you get into schools now, get into colleges, you start talking to these kids now, right? Because this is where you get them, right?
Yeah.
This is where like Disney and McDonald's
Yeah.
do. They get you on the
Yeah.
the kids in the Happy Meals,
Yeah.
and we're the idiots who go back there 30 years later for a hangover burger, right? Because they got us on the chicken nuggets when we were 6.
Yeah.
And it's the same. I see the same longer term planning for us. When you could approach so many schools, education facilities.
Yeah.
And could feed people. You could put on, young person's mentorships or like apprenticeships or.
There's a lot there. You can start way earlier in the food chain. That's true.
If you can get young guys, over 18 who might want to come for an apprenticeship and learn from you and see inside companies, and then you can match that with funding for them from government grants and funding who will pay you to help these guys set up the tech companies of the future.
Yeah.
There's like infinite potential.
There's infinite potential.
But all the people in our industry are still focused on how do I get 5 high ticket sales.
Yeah. That's a super good point. It's like thinking about how we do it now, gladly that we are doing that, maybe without really thinking of this point as we speak about it, because as I said, we started now in the mentoring with the high tickets. Works. So then we have 3 layers basically of clients that we are targeting. Obviously, highest food chain, the one-to-one, the businesses, cash is not a problem, have other problems. for IT, for really scaling, because they're at the point they can scale. Like, because as you said, what is actually scaling? As you want to grow in revenue, grow in team size, make more profit, and all that kind of jazz. But and it's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
So you can only target those, and there's limited clients like that. So what we'd experienced also over the last 2 years is that's why we built second layers and the third layers. Like, okay, then there is freelancers, so really experts, 10 years in that field, Microsoft consultants, SAP consultants, make a ton of money, solopreneurs, classic. I would say better paid employees because they work for one or two clients, but they make a lot of money. And they want to get into the transition of becoming an entrepreneur and starting a real business. But that's the second layer that we are targeting, because that's a big layer, big range of people, especially in Germany, Austria, Switzerland. It's a majority. There's a lot of freelance consultants. So that's the next layer we target, and it's a kind of different approach. And the third layer that we are targeting now, but I'd like to now think even further as we speak, are the people who want to become solopreneurs, freelancers. They're employed. So we have different kind of programs for them. That's what we develop now. So that one-to-one is basically you speak to them. They get the value out of the talks. They know what you just guide them. The middle tier, the freelancers, there's a couple of variables that you need to, twist. And then the challenge here is the mindset, becoming, I just work for myself, one client, to get really a business starting. And then the third layer, the employees, they want to become freelancers. Super easy to help them. So that's what we are targeting. But right now, as we speak, I also realize we are still concentrating more on the one-to-one, because you think there's more money, cash coming in. But the actual 90% are the two lower tiers, or even further in the universities, guiding them. Yeah.
Then they funnel. This is what Google and the tech I learned this from the tech companies like Google, when it came to like employee branding and making a funnel to recruit the best staff. I looked at first thing I thought about was, well, you want to create demand, right? So it's like, which companies have a culture that people want to go and work for? And you think about Google and Apple, Silicon Valley. So it's tech, right? Because you hear people, no one, you don't hear people say like, when I get out of college, I really want to go and work at this restaurant or something, unless it's like a Gordon Ramsay level chef. But the young people, like, I want to work in Google is my dream, Facebook is my dream. They do the hackathons, all these things. So they've got these people like literally fighting over who wants to work for them. And then I looked into it more, and it was like, well, Google, they're promoting their recruitment pipeline years in advance. They fund the colleges in order to have a bias towards their companies. They send their people in to go and talk to all the students, and do lectures for them. So at the end of it, the students are like, man, Google is my mecca. That's the place I need. When I get out of here, when I'm certified, I'm getting in the queue to work at Google. And that's when I was like, well, we need to create that. That's what we need to create for our company. And so, like you getting in those educational, they can be a great pipeline of people to you. So we do this with, like for personal trainers, it's, if you can get in there and what does the certification company want to provide? They give a certification, but ultimately they want to, they look better if they help that certified person either get a job or learn to make their own money and be a success story. So then more people will want to become a personal trainer, get certified, and make money. So if you can, you be the middleman and add that value in there and say, hey, you're certifying all these people, or they're getting this college degree or whatever tech, stuff it is. How about I can bolt on this extra value for you? You can give them this workshop from me of how to start up your own freelancer and get your first few clients. And I'm Patrick McGibney. I've done this like exit. I've done this business for years. And that's something that they can then give to every single student. They go, oh, thanks for that. That makes us look really good. You can go and do talks. You said you want to speak more. This is where one of the things like the expert authority thing I teach is I always believe you want to become the leading provider of free education in your community, which
good.
is so easy to do because no one does it.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're a speaker of any kind, if you did one free seminar a month, you would probably become the actual biggest donator of free services. And you could do it then for the youth, for the colleges, and
that's a good point.
maybe you don't make sales out of it immediately, but it makes some good content and it gets you,
And it will get you sales.
like you get looked at like a philanthropist in the industry, basically.
Yeah, that's a great point. Actually,
It's fun, it's fulfilling.
and it's fulfilling. I think that's a very important point. It's also interesting because next week what we planned actually next week we have some content created and prepared that we are offering now one live call for free for anyone who wants to join. So that's gonna get out there, I think, on Wednesday or something like that. Because now we, as I said before, we are also separating all live calls during all days, and one live call during the week should just be for interested people for free. It's
Open
completely
day
for free.
presentation.
All they need to do is sign up, like just the info that they get access to the platform and everything. And I think that I completely agree. That's super valuable. First of all, it's fun. You can really help, like, and every now and then we have people also like specially invited. Just like this week actually, we had some guys from Florida joining our live call with some clients, and they were like just invited, and they got the most value out of the call. They were asking us. I was like, yeah, cool, man, that's awesome.
And I'm gonna steal an idea I just got from you, actually.
Damn it. Well, I stole a lot already.
So I'm gonna take that idea, and I'm gonna do for gym school. Because I was gonna think about doing a $1 trial.
Yeah. No, just for free.
Well, what we're doing now is I'm gonna test out a bit of both. I'm gonna do attend one of our workshops for $1.
Yeah, we did that.
And then get the credit card info, and then be like, you get the workshop plus 1 week of access to everything else. And then if you like it, just don't do anything. We'll bill you then the regular price.
We did that. We did the no-brainer offers with clients. We put ads on it. Surprisingly, that didn't work. We did I think we started with 49 euros, then went down to 29.1. And as soon as we made zero, that's where the influx came. It was $1 was too much. It was the fact that they need to put in the credit card. So now it's what we do is, and I'm going to intensify this because I like the idea of building the community, is it's really for free. They have to just put their information, no credit card, just the info, which is also going to be a challenge for some because they're too lazy, but they get access to basically everything, the content.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll try that as well then probably. But I wouldn't say they're too lazy, because again, we've got to be careful we don't put an external judgment on them, and they could be lazy, but the thing is, we don't have any power to control it then. Maybe it's because they don't want to put their info because they think they're going to get spammed with sales messages.
Of course, it's a trust issue.
So if we just say like, hey, put your info, but don't worry, you're not going to get blasted with sales messages. This is just no strings. Maybe that copy would help.
It's about building the trust, right? Because you want to first of all you want to help, but you're maybe unknown, maybe you're known, maybe they follow you, maybe not. So it's a trust issue. So how to build trust? The easiest way: give something for free, something valuable. So do a live call once a month, once a week. Give some free content. So what we're trying to, as I said, we did that this week. Just there were a couple of guys from Florida. It was a super awesome live call. Like, actually, we're gonna post the live call with bits because I went on a 1 hour rant, but it was really a good live call. It's like we had some really cool pieces about how to use LinkedIn, and I think that's something that we're intensifying. Really get them in, get them in the community, see how we can help them, build the trust, no strings attached, and build upon that. Because what you said the whole time is really you need to think a couple of steps ahead on if your ultimate goal is to get the one-to-one high ticket clients, build them by yourself, build those clients. You need to, in order to get there, maybe that's 5 to 10 years. And you also said change change the marketing. It's like the message behind, super important, because if we're talking to the one-to-ones about scaling and revenue, if we're using those words with the people who are employed, want to come for freelance, they don't know the term revenue in most cases. They're talking about income. It's small nuances, right? So we're getting them out there one step, maybe helping them transition. We have a couple of great success stories about them really being able close 2-3 projects, keep your job till then. I always tell, if you're employed, keep the job till you can make it for 6 months. At least 3 to 6 months, prove to yourself, not to me, that you can get clients, that you have a stable revenue or income in their case, how they, and then you can think of having this break-even point where you can, okay, can I project that? Can I forecast it for the next 3 to 6 months? That's a great time to really say, okay, I'm going to quit my job, and that gives the stability, and you're feeding basically yourself with the future businesses. But there's the steps, the layers in between.
Funny, what I teach my clients about that, I say there's a masculine way to promote and a feminine way, and I learned this from like the dating gurus, right? So if you think about it, so the feminine way of mate selection, we're trying to get a mate, right? And that's what we're trying to do with a client. So the feminine way, what any smart woman does is she waits at the finish line and then grabs a winner. When the man
makes sense, Women
wait. They wait at the finish line. They pick the winners. Whether we like it or not, that's what they do. They're not gonna meet a bum and hope you become a millionaire.
True.
That happens sometimes, but it's an exception. Women, at least the women that know their value, they hang around at the finish line and they get with a winner.
It's a good analogy.
That's the feminine way. It's easy, it's graceful, it's effortless. Good. No judgment. The masculine way is we have to build ourselves into the man that can acquire the skills, grow and develop to cross the finish line and then get a good chick at the end of it. So I look at the marketing the same way here, and what everyone's trying to do is the feminine way, which is
wait for the high ticket.
They say, I want only qualified leads. So I'm going to wait and cherry pick a qualified lead when it comes. Okay, that's fine. And remember, that'll work to a degree, but you're going to be limited in scale. The masculine way then is what I teach people is I say, like, you can get a few qualified leads, but ultimately you qualify the lead. A qualified lead is not picked, it's created. As a qualified lead, what is it? It's more than do they have the money on it. A qualified lead is someone that knows they're problem aware, they're solution aware, they're educated enough to know what you do and how you do it. And that's a qualified lead. So we actually create qualified leads by educating them, nurturing them through our content. And so having our ecosystem in place where you bring someone in the low end, build them up, take them to the next level, sell the next thing,
good point.
level up again. We're creating the high ticket qualified leads. We're the farmers now. It's the difference between reaping and sowing. You can just stay there and just pick the flowers, but then there's none left. We're the ones creating, we're putting all the seeds in place.
The masculine way. I like the book.
Farming, building, so we have a massive pipeline. We have a field full of them eventually, in the long term.
You need to think long term. You
Not
can't
right now, but long term. That's what male thinking is all about, long term. Feminine is all about the now and the chaos and the...
So interesting. I'm just projecting that to my family life right now.
Women's job is to feel good now. Men's job is to think about the future, right?
It's true.
Men think long term, women feel good now. That's it, right? Feeling is now, thinking and planning is long term. And so that's why I say, if you can go out there and you have the right systems and can afford the reach and traffic to cherry pick those top already qualified leads, great. But remember, those leads only became qualified because they went through somebody else's funnel. They've been looking at your competitors or they've been looking at, someone who gets a life coach has already been looking at Tony Robbins stuff, but they maybe just can't afford Tony Robbins. Or they need someone in a German language specifically. And then they see you and go, okay, you will do.
That's good.
But they're already been indoctrinated and qualified through someone's funnel.
They've been created.
People don't just wake up and go, hey, I'd like to scale my tech company today. I think I need a mentorship for this. Like, as much as we want to believe, like that's what people are telling you, that these people are just sitting there waiting on Facebook to see your advert.
Oh, that's the ad I was waiting for. But it's a super valuable point. You really need to create your own qualified leads over a long time. It's a long-term thinking, as you say. Where do you start? Like, you can start, as you say, in schools and universities, right? To start nurturing.
And I found this develops. This is based on. I think I talk about it. In the 3 phases. The awareness phase, information phase, and action phase. I talk about like the 3 phases of the prospect readiness. From awareness content, information content, and then call to action content. And this is where 90% are in the awareness phase. People that just need to know that the result they want is possible for them. Then they will learn, how do I actually do it then? And finally, they take action and take a sample demonstration.
And that's a very small percentage.
Yeah, so us experts, we're all trying to do this.
But we're not aiming here.
And we're ignoring this. And what people always say to me, like, well, should I build this big funnel with all the 3 layers in a funnel? So you might have, your reels as your awareness, build video views, then you retarget them for a free opt-in, and then from there, maybe you book them onto a one-to-one call if they're ready for more help. And people will ask me then, well, should I build all that out to begin with? And usually I say no, because you want to do the minimal effective dose. And so in some industries, depending on your level of competition, level of maturity and sophistication your market has. So in my example of gyms, local business, not really any competition. I mean, there are other gyms, but they don't, like, no one uses Facebook ads. So we have only ever done direct action marketing. I've had 1 advert in 12 years, pretty much. That's like, we're looking for 10 people to do a 6-week transformation program. Because I know I'll get leads under $10. We'll close a $300 to $500 program. My front end ROI is fine, and we've scaled 30 gyms doing that over 10 years. And there's never been a need to do anything else, because our market is just, we have no competition basically. But online, different story. Or in certain industries that are very highly saturated. Like if you're an online fitness coach and try and pull that, you're going to get destroyed in your adverts. So an online fitness coach who's now competing with all the online gurus everywhere, they have to start with like some reels. Hey, here's a bit of my content. And then, oh, you like that? Let me retarget you with my opt-in thingy-majig. And you have to go through that cycle. The customer sales cycle just is extended longer. And I think this is what people aren't realizing, that what we're talking about, all this farming, you can go and cherry pick the best clients if there's no competition in your market yet. And your lead costs work out like that. But for a lot of industries now, if you've missed the mark on that, I was fortunate to be, I was doing this 12 years ago. So I was one of the first people on Facebook ads doing this, and was able to dominate pretty quickly. So timing was a big part. I would say my timing was better than my skill. Right? But now in certain industries, if you try that, you're going to pay so much to try and grab that finish line customer. Like you better be a very hot female. If you're gonna take that winner.
If you're waiting on the finish line.
And so you might have to step back a bit and put more of that content out, and have more layers to the funnel. So the more over time saturated and sophisticated your market becomes, you're going to have to do more work of building this pipeline, building the ecosystem. And that's another reason why I think this conversation is going to happen more and more now, because I think we're closing the gap on that. Go in with high ticket stuff. Because when I started the high ticket stuff, Facebook ads were way cheaper. I think I did my first high ticket funnel on Facebook in 2015. As a coach, nobody knew what a coach consultant was back then. I would just literally do Skype calls back then. We'd literally run a webinar, and I could get, if you're a coach consultant and you want to learn how to make 6 figures in 90 days, all the stuff back then, I would literally get webinar registrants for $3.
It's crazy, yeah.
I pay $1,000.
Yeah.
You get 30, 50 people on a webinar. You get 3-4 calls booked. You close 1 or 2 sales. Easy. 10K a month in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I was doing. Now, if I try pulling that, I go out there, hey, you're a coach consultant, want to do my free webinar?
Yeah.
You're going to pay $30 a registrant. You get 5% show up rate, more sales objections, more competitors.
Yes.
And it's just not going to work anymore unless you go and find the next platform, which is newer. But so I think this is why now a lot of the coaches that succeed from this point are going to be the ones that really start building out this ecosystem.
Super good point.
And build it before you think you need it.
Yeah, build it before you think you need it. Do you think that a lot of consultants, expert coaches will perish because of that? Because everybody's just concentrating on cherry picking?
Oh, great question. I think a lot of them have perished already.
Yeah.
Because I think it's about the five levels of market sophistication. We did
that in the previous podcast. Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. So you have to know what level of market sophistication you're at. I'm trying to remember the guy who came up with this model. I did a newsletter on it. But you can go online, type in five levels of market sophistication. How any product or technology goes from 1 to 5. So when it's quick recap for any listeners, when something's brand new, like vodka, you're the first person selling vodka in the world. Great, everyone comes to you.
Yeah.
The product alone sells itself. But then you get competitors also sell vodka, so you have to go to level 2, which is who has the best offer. We have, it's made a special way. Then people copy that. Then you have to offer the best risk reversal. Then you have to offer the best brand story behind it. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, then the product that gets to phase 5 is just like a commodity. There's so many people making vodka. Yeah. The only one that wins is the one with the best brand. Yeah. Grey Goose, Absolute, the one people can name. Yeah. Grey Goose, the sponsor of our podcast today. And so the coaching consulting industry, because of its nature as being online and information based, will get saturated so much faster that I think we're really underestimating how fast the market gets sophisticated with what we do. Yeah. Because, and even with ChatGPT and stuff now, ChatGPT can do a better job than 90% of coaches can.
Yes. If you use it right. Yeah.
And so I believe what I'm teaching like gym owners with all this now is that when it comes to, if your market is in phase 4, going into phase 5, which is market saturation, the only ways to stand out is you have to innovate you have to bring more value for a better price than your competitors do. Yeah. And you have to have the brand, the strong authority branding. Yeah. And so authority branding is covered a lot. That's your content, that's all that stuff. What people aren't looking at is the innovation of business models. But this is exactly what we're talking about, of saying, rather than try and realize, there always will be that small part of the market that will pay high ticket for things, but the rest of the market is not going to go that way. Yeah. And so you have to innovate by offering your value in different formats, different packages, at different price points, and increase that scale of reach. Yeah.
That makes it scalable. Yeah. That makes it scalable.
And all marketing starts with your product, right? So, and that's why we have the world's best products don't need any marketing. So the iPhone doesn't need marketing. The first person has an iPhone and you're like, holy crap, what is this thing? And I go, have a go. And you're like, wow, this is amazing. I'm getting one of these. Yeah. What's it called? iPhone, okay. So, like Lambos, the best products don't need marketing. And this is what no coaches are thinking about product development. Yeah. I even say like most sales objections should be handled by your product. Mm. Most sales objections, if you're getting a lot of sales objections, it shows a product flaw. Yeah. So, for example, like in the fitness industry, if someone has an objection like, I'd love to lose weight into the program, but I don't have time. Yeah. Well, your workout should have been positioned as being a 30-minute fat loss fix
Yeah. Yeah.
that you can get done in 3 workouts a week for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you should know your customer
Yeah.
is short on time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's like one example.
Yeah.
If they say, well, I would do it, but I lose motivation.
Yeah.
You should say, no worries. That's why we've created our Facebook group where we hold
Yeah.
you accountable and do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I don't like diets. No problem. That's why we've created our super simple 5-step nutrition plan
Yeah.
that we're going to give to you.
Yeah.
And we're going to even prep your meals and stuff.
Yeah.
So once your product has been designed to anticipate the needs and obstacles of the client, you shouldn't get any objections.
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about going back to innovation, I think innovation starts at the product level, but everyone just thinks everyone's talking about innovation at the marketing level, which has a place, but they're like, how do I get the best hook on my TikTok reel? Or, what's the best font to use in my reel? Or how can I grab attention? Or how should I be doing the new carousels?
Yeah.
Or what's the latest Instagram sticker? Yeah. And that stuff's fine, like nothing wrong with that. But innovation only on the marketing is just putting lipstick on the pig.
True.
Where is the innovation at the product and service level? Which is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Scalable models, different accessible price points, letting people to try out your free live session, delivering workshops and programs for
Innovative
schools.
thinking. Yeah.
This is where real product innovation has to happen, and I think it's not being taught in the expert industry because so few people have done it yet.
Yeah.
The expert industry was started by people that had expertise in something, but were really marketing experts or sales experts.
Yeah.
Now the entire industry of the expert coaching is now getting more people. It's developed people such as yourself, who have real business experience are coming in. Because when we started off, when this industry started, it was more like, oh, you can help someone lose a bit of weight, or you've read Think and Grow Rich a couple of times. You can be a life coach.
Yeah.
Now it's drawn in people like yourself who have real business scale expertise, and can bring so much more to the industry. And people have to learn real business concepts if they want to really make it scalable. So I think what I'm saying is I think the saturation is happening, and coaches are dropping out of the market because of a lack of product innovation. They're still trying to sell the same thing at the same price point as 5 years ago. Either nobody wants it anymore because there's just far better competitors who have a better brand than they do.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Or their marketing costs have gone up 10x in the last 5 years, and their sales model is no longer viable.
Yeah.
And they don't have any of the other parts of the ecosystem they could have shuttled clients into for some money.
Yeah.
And they're living and dying on the high ticket hill.
Yeah. That's
And
good.
I think that's the problem here,
Yeah.
because they've been taught that one funnel.
Yeah.
Do a webinar.
Yeah.
And these guys, maybe they paid like 20K to learn a webinar funnel. So that's all they know.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I have to do a webinar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, that's like 7 years old.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I learned from Russ Ruffino or whatever, 9 years ago. And so, and the other problem is that you've got a lot of people that made money in this industry teaching this stuff back then, have made so much money and built such a big audience, they don't have to innovate that much.
That's all. That's a problem.
And so they're just teaching what worked for them 8 years ago. And they're teaching it to brand new people who are coming into a new ecosystem,
And it's
new
not gonna
time,
work,
post-COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID accelerated everything online so fast.
Yeah.
I think that probably halved or doubled the saturation time
Yeah. Yeah.
for our industry. And I think the other big thing is so many people got suckered into this industry as a biz op,
Yeah. Yeah.
first of all, where you were told, if you have expertise in anything, you can build a 6 or 7 figure business. And I'll be honest, like back in the day, even I would say things like that because I did believe it back then because I was excited about the opportunity.
Yeah.
Now I've coached a few thousand people. I know that just because you have expertise doesn't mean you can be an entrepreneur.
No.
Most of you are not going to make this work, and you should, no judgment, you probably should, most people should go back and get a job or be an intrapreneur and work alongside. Maybe you're not good enough to run your own tech mentoring firm, but you know what? Go and be a closer for Patrick. You'll do really well there. You know the business well enough. You can close for Patrick by selling his product, take a good commission, and make more money doing that than you will trying to be a founder in this. And so I think a lot of those people didn't really have that much in the way of results. They had expertise.
Yeah.
And this is why I think the biggest messaging transition is going to be not that if you're an expert in something, you can make a business.
Yeah.
It's going to be if you've demonstrated real results in something.
Yeah.
Oh, you've exited and sold your like 8-figure, 9-figure company?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you can teach tech companies that.
Yeah.
Oh, you've built 30 gyms? Yeah, okay. You can do that.
That is absolutely true. It's like, that's also something that, without judgment, I'm experiencing all the time with clients on the, let's say, different levels. Like, they think being an expert, a freelancer, or whatsoever qualifies to being a business owner, entrepreneur.
Entitles them to it. 6 figures.
Yeah. It's as you say, it's not the case, and there's no judgment. It's not good or bad. It's also what I'm like. It's a real challenge that I'm facing constantly. Honest, haven't solved it yet. It's a mindset issue, right? Just because you're an expert doesn't qualify that you can run a business. It's like, and making what I'm trying to do with such clients is, I do want to show them the way on how they could do it, but I want to show them a different path as well that might fit better to them. Doesn't mean it's worse. It might fit better to them.
Yeah.
Like, if I, for example, see a freelancer, been working with me, I'm coaching him, and I just see, okay, he's really good at the freelancing stuff. He can get his own clients now without the recruiters. He can make higher profits. But I do see he's not gonna build a team. He's just not gonna do it. It's not the person. Like, previously, I would have said, I agree. I think I will anyway try the entrepreneur way. But these days, I also know it's not going to work. Let's save the headache and tell him, dude, just remain the expert. You can still,
Or become a coach for you.
or become a coach or there's different options, right?
And so I think that's a really good point. I think that one thing I think we'll see a lot more of, two things. I think as well, we can't keep hiding behind client testimonials.
Yeah.
I see client testimonials become worth less and less and less.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, when you look at a sales page for something you're interested in and you see all these client testimonials, do they even register with you?
No, I'm not looking at them.
Because people either think it's either made up,
Yeah.
it's not real,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to verify it if it is,
Yeah.
or that's probably just the cherry-picked top
Yeah.
clients,
Yeah.
or maybe those clients had something I don't have, and it worked for them, but not
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
So first of all, I wouldn't say remove your client testimonials, but I don't think they have anywhere near the effect that everyone tells you they do.
Yeah. No, I
really don't.
completely
I don't
agree.
see it.
Yeah.
I have pages, hundreds of testimonials,
Yeah.
and I still get people message me saying like, "How do I know this will work for me?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Bro, like," but again, that's my entitlement of going.
Yeah.
You read the testimonial,
Yeah,
you should
yeah.
believe me.
Yeah.
No, we're not in 1999 anymore.
Yeah. I agree.
Everyone has, so I have to step up as a leader and go, well, hang on, people aren't responding to this. I can bitch and moan at them if I
Yeah.
want to, or
Yeah.
I can work on taking back control and
Yeah.
developing my
Yeah.
business more,
Yeah.
or my communication. So I think what's moving closer now is the founder's social proof.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to come right back when people hear you for the first time on
Yeah.
video. When I kick off my videos, my awareness videos, first thing I'll start with is, number one, the promise of value. Watch my video today. I'm going to teach you how I got 20 clients from Facebook ads. And then I'll go straight in with an introduction of, my name is Justin Devonshire. I've built and scaled 30 gyms over the last few years, through the pandemic, and now I help others do the same.
Yeah.
And I think that is far better than look at my wall of testimonials.
It's the social proof.
People are going to start looking now in a saturated market for, can I trust you though?
Yeah.
Not your clients, have
Yeah.
you done it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the onus of social proof is going to fall back on the founder more, which immediately is going to now destroy so many coaches.
80-90%.
All they can show is
Yeah.
they've helped other people.
Yeah. But they haven't done it themselves.
But they didn't do it. So I think that's what's going to happen, number one, which is it's a cleansing of the market. In market saturation, it has to be cleansed.
Yeah.
And that means people that actually did the work in the meantime, I think will now start getting the rewards more.
Yeah.
And we will deserve it. And the other thing, like you mentioned there, is I think we're going to see a pivoting from competition to collaboration. So
Interesting, yeah.
So for the example of, like you said, when we work with prospects now, so let's say I have so many gym owners will come and want to work with me, and because I'm at the point now where I've built my companies to a certain point, I don't only have my mentoring options to give them.
Yeah.
Sometimes some people say, hey, here's my situation, what do you recommend? Sometimes I'll say, you know what, the best thing for you would be to take one of our franchises.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think mentoring is something for you. I think a franchise model, which is an entrepreneurship, which means, you know, take proven models that are already done without the risk, as much risk.
Yeah.
So that could be franchising, licensing, recruitment, working within our model, even. Or hey, you know what? I don't think I can help you, but I have a gym in that area. I think you'd be a great manager for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I like to do more like strength profiling with people now and say, are you a natural entrepreneur, a natural manager, an investor? And based on that, I would then say, you know, either you will do great as a franchisee, where you have enough creative expression, but you have the guidance and the accountability to the brand standards. Or no, you're too much of a rebel, you're too much of a thing, you need to be an entrepreneur. Or you're just, at this point, you need more experience. And you need to learn the job, learn the industry more. If you're newly certified, I would say come and work for me for a year. And that's what we actually, inside our gyms, we have a fast track thing where our employees, the funnel is to ascend them into being franchise owners.
Makes sense.
They work for us for a year, we pay them for that. And the best ones, we say, hey, look, we think you should take a franchise off us and pay us $25K. And have your own business. You've done the training. If you've got the right personality trait for it. And so that's what I see again, because now, you know, certain businesses like yours have got to a certain point of let's say dominance in the market, where you can provide more options to other people. So it used to be 10 years ago, it used to be that before the blow up of the internet and the coaching industry, it would be that if you had an expertise in something, either you get a job working with someone else doing it, or you burn your life to the ground and become an entrepreneur and risk it all. And it's kind of like very 50-50.
That is a 50,
Now that we have established, guys like yourself have established companies inside this industry, you can now give the opportunities to those people on the fence that didn't have them 10 years ago. So I remember when I was a fitness trainer, you know, when I started 15 years, there wasn't like online coaching. I couldn't even go and work at a facility like we have. That model didn't exist then. If I wanted to make money as a trainer, I had to go and work at a Planet Fitness and wipe sweat off treadmills for minimum wage. Or I had to be a freelancer in the gym, pay rent to the gym. The most money you'd aim to make back then would be become a strength and conditioning coach for a football team, and you'd get like 60K a year. That was when I was young, like that was my major ambition in life. I was like, if I can make 60K a year working for a sports team, like I'm the god of my industry, basically. You know, but that was the only options. I couldn't do like functional training, CrossFit type. There was no gyms like that to work in 15 years ago. I had to go build it from scratch, from an outdoor boot camp, to then getting a studio, getting rid of all the treadmills and putting in my functional equipment in, turning that into a studio chain, to then be able to hire people who were where I was back then. But I was like, this is the job I would have loved to have had when I was 18. If I'd been given that job when I was 18, I might not have even ever become an entrepreneur. So I realized like I'm actually now able to give back a new opportunity for a fun, fulfilling job with career pathway. You can become a manager, a regional manager, a franchisee maybe. And this can be a real job opportunity for you now. Whereas 15 years ago,
didn't exist.
I couldn't tell my parents I want to be a personal trainer. They'd say, well, when are you going to get a real job? Like an accountant or something. This is not a serious profession. Now we're able to give 19-year-olds and say, hey, look, you've got a real career. You're starting on 25K a year. We're going to put you on our fast track program. And we've done that. And we've had like one 19-year-old. He was on like government welfare after COVID. When we met him. He was sent to us by the local council.
Yeah.
Because they have to apply for X number of jobs. And he was on welfare. He'd been sacked from his last job, but he was a fit young guy,
Yeah.
trained for his sport. We brought him on like the government-funded job scheme. The government
Perfect.
paid us like 600 quid, take him on. We're like, okay, we could use some clean floors.
Yeah.
You know? And he was so good, great character, great guy, super likable. You know, and then 1 year later at 19, he has the keys to his own franchise business.
Crazy, yeah.
And that made the media rounds.
That's crazy.
We also funded him. We said, look, we want you to be a success story here. We said, you pay the first half of the franchise fee and we'll actually donate the other half for you.
Yeah.
And because we're investing in you, because we believe in you.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's the story you can kind of create like that. So this is where collaboration comes in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, the businesses that are mature enough have the ecosystem and the audience and the branding. The next step, I think, then will be to look at offering more potential collaborations or recruitment from within. I see a lot of mini-scale acquisitions and mergers happening, where there's plenty of good coaches, consultants, trainers, and they've struggled for years. And their business is not getting off the ground. They can't figure out ads. They can't figure out funnels. And really, they just want to teach what they teach and make 4 or 5 grand a month out of it.
Yeah.
That's actually what they want.
Yeah.
So we can now go to these people and
collaborate.
say, look, you know, why don't you just come in with us?
Yeah.
You know, we can take on their assets. If they have a little Instagram account or email list they've built up, we can acquire that. And we did this when we started acquiring other gyms to the same degree. But I've done it with online fitness coaches. We've acquired other Instagram accounts to grow our main Instagram account. There's people with Facebook groups that are dead.
Yeah.
People have built Facebook groups in their niche to 2, 3, 5,000 people, and they've given up because they can't. You must know people, right? They have a Facebook group of 5,000 prospects.
Yeah.
I haven't posted in it for 90 days.
Yeah.
I'm not making sales.
Yeah.
These are the equivalent of business assets you can buy now.
Yeah.
And go to these guys. Say, hey, you know, I'll give you $3,000 for the whole list, and if you're looking to make money, my setters will get clients for you.
Yeah.
We'll work on a split.
Yeah.
And you just put my branding across your Facebook group.
Yeah.
I get your email list. These are like the equivalent of the brick and mortar assets
Yeah.
that business owners build online. There's unused Instagram accounts, email lists, coaches with a bit of a client base that are stuck.
Yeah.
We're going to start absorbing them into our companies. They just come work with us.
It's a done with you.
Yeah,
approach,
they get the
right?
benefit of coming under our brand.
Yeah.
And then we get the benefit of our branding being shown to their customers and prospects. So this is where I think the next stage is going to go.
Super interesting.
Once there's monopolization at the top, or innovation, because in the technology curve you have innovation followed by monopolization, right? Well, there's innovation, saturation, monopolization, and then usually destruction of a market.
Yeah.
At
some point.
The five stages tech.
Yeah.
So if we're in saturation now, next step is monopolization.
Get eaten up. Yeah.
Same way in social media, there was all the MySpace and
all gone.
all these, and then Facebook came along, monopolized, bought them all. Now you can't get in that industry anymore.
No.
Until it eventually destroys, just because consumers or tech changes fundamentally. And now it's AI going through the same thing.
Yeah.
There'll be 1 million AI companies now, and then Nvidia is going to buy out half of them and destroy the rest. And then if you're not Nvidia in 5 years, you can't get in this industry anymore.
Yep. Yeah.
Whatever. So I think that I see the coaching industry going through the exact same format. Why wouldn't it? Every other industry goes this way.
Yeah.
And I see that's where we're going with this. So it's setting up you to monopolize right now and dominate your niche industry.
Yeah.
And get the feelers out there to more...
to a wider range.
Or even going back to what we said earlier, if it seems like a stretch of resources for you to move into those 90% audiences or certification providers, schools, whatever down the value chain, maybe those are companies you can actually start acquiring or partnering with.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of my goals is to, as I expand the gym chain, is to actually start acquiring equipment companies because my value chain,
Yeah.
I'm paying out, I have to go and pay, 20K to an equipment company
Yeah.
to stock every gym.
Yeah.
My next thought is, why don't I just buy or acquire a struggling equipment company
Yeah.
or take a share in it?
Yeah.
They benefit as my other company being their best customer.
Yeah.
And plus, I've got a whole, the more down the value chain you can go.
Of course.
I mean, do you want to sell, a piece of fruit,
Yeah.
an orange, or do you want to be the orange farmer?
Yeah. Of course.
And so value chain models are going to come more into our industry. All these concepts will come more and more into the expert industry.
Yeah.
And then we have to navigate the things like AI and ChatGPT, which
That's the technology always
I'm
comes
not
with
even-
it.
yeah, that's if we can use that to enhance what we do.
Yeah.
But again, I think also as that stuff rises, because someone can make a podcast or a YouTube
Yes.
video
Yeah. We talked
without
about.
you even doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I think that is actually gonna push things even further towards, can I see the founder?
Yes.
Is he
Exactly.
putting out real
Yes.
content?
Yes.
And does he have the results?
Yes. Yes. I think the AI, especially the technology now, everybody's using these plain vanilla content. If you are the 5%, if you belong to the 5% who is not doing it, you're standing out. And if you then have the social proof of as a founder, you can stand out. This is what I'm telling my clients all the time, man. Just go on LinkedIn, because we're using read LinkedIn. All the posts that you read there is like, oh, I'm delighted to announce that I've become the new ambassador of my company for cooking the freshest coffee here on stage one. It's like literally everybody's talking like that, right? There's even reels out there that's showing like talk LinkedIn in real life.
Oh,
like,
that one in the pub, in the bar.
yeah. That's what's like. That's so funny, right? Like, I recently hooked up with Olivia or something like that. Oh,
I agree.
Congratulations.
I endorse this.
So good, but it's true. I mean, that shows if you're not doing it, it's gonna push. Yeah, it's gonna push out, but it's also gonna make you stand out if you're a real expert, a founder, and have the social proof. I completely.
I think
agree.
we've got to look ahead, and I think some people do say that, yeah, you need real content on video,
Yeah.
but I don't think that's enough, because I think in 5 years you'll be able to replicate yourself on an
Yeah.
AI video.
Yeah.
So it has to be as far away from AI replicable
Yes.
as possible.
Yeah.
But also it falls back on, you need that you need to have achieved something.
It's a combination of.
But anyone listening and thinking, well, I haven't done an 8-figure exit, I haven't built up this. Again, it's not the end, because the industry has developed so much that there's other opportunities for you now. You don't have to go back to a job you hate. You can now go and work for your competitor, or work for someone who's achieved that goal before you have.
Yeah.
If you're at a point where your social proof is not enough,
Yeah.
that's okay. Go and collaborate.
Yeah.
Go and entrepreneur with someone else.
Yeah.
And there's just, there's so much more this industry is going to develop, but only the top companies
Yeah.
who have that established presence now are going to be the ones
Yeah.
hitting the fringes of the
Yeah.
90% audience where the innovation is going to come.
Yeah.
So this is where, like someone who's maybe in a similar role to you wants to teach tech professionals, and they think, well, I can't compete with Patrick because I've not done that with my company. Well, maybe in a year from now, Patrick sets up a deal with a bunch of colleges who want workshops and lectures. Maybe you can be the guy who Patrick assigns as the head of doing that for him.
Yeah.
You're the head of our educational developmental program. Your role can be to go and sell a bunch of associations and colleges on working with us and delivering free content to them. Like, there's so many more opportunities and roles that we are going to create as founders, that the people that have the expertise but don't have the marketing and sales and the entrepreneur ability can come and work with us and help us.
Yeah.
So it's not, because people think it's like doom and gloom. They think, I haven't got those results, imposter syndrome, I can't do this.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah. There's other options.
And trust me, I'm sure you'll agree, be careful what you wish for. You
Yes.
think you want a 7-8 figure business.
Yeah. Be careful.
Well,
Be careful.
I always say to people, people that want a 7-figure gym business, a brick and mortar business that runs on 30% margins if you're lucky. Not lucky if you have very good systems in place. But so I say everyone wants a 7-figure fitness business. So you want 100K of income.
Yeah.
But then I say, are you comfortable then with 70K a month of outgoings?
Yeah.
And they're like, what? Hang on, what? I'm like, well, it's going to run on about 30% margin, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and do you want to know what your tax bill is going to be?
Yeah.
And they're like, huh? And I'm like, yeah, that's if you want a 100K a month income, you're going to have a 70K a month outgoing.
Yeah.
And like 40K on payroll.
Yeah.
Are you okay with?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you can't be comfortable with that, if you can't be comfortable with the outgoings, you'll never get comfortable with the income.
Exactly. I think the picture that, especially these days in social media, is like so cool. It's so fancy to be an entrepreneur.
7-8% profit margins.
And it's all bullshit. Like the way there. I mean, it's part of the journey, but we can't always say that's. You very rarely hear about the struggles, right? It's not everybody is meant to go that way, and it's not bad. It's like I'm also telling people, as you just said, be aware of what you wish.
Every sports person should be an Olympic athlete,
no,
right?
Should not.
Five-a-side football's okay sometimes.
Maybe that's
paddle with your friends.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun.
You don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You can. Not everybody can be like the best or to really strive towards professionalism. And it's also a difference if you do it a month or half a year or something. Do that 10 plus years. It's going to change you.
I think that's a good point as well. I think now as the market gets saturated, we're out of this initial launch and sprint period.
Yeah.
Now the conversation becomes, some people can make a 6-figure business in 90 days doing this if you're the rare exception. If you come in with the expertise, which means you've probably run a business successfully in the past. Like when you started mentoring, you already had a lot of the skills, right?
Yeah.
So you're coming in with years of experience. I'm teaching gym owners. I've got 10 years of building and selling gyms already.
Completely different expertise.
So I can open up any gym anywhere in the world and take it to 6 figures in 90 days. Well, even being there.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I can teach someone else to come in. Even if we're equal in terms of resources, like they can invest capital.
Yeah.
It's just that wisdom, that experience just gives you that extra confident edge to be like, but I'm going to do it though.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to struggle. You're going to second guess. You're going to try and cut corners. You don't know the true cost of those things. I'm just going to go by my plan, set my plan, run my plan because I know my plan works.
Yeah.
I can afford to just trust in the process.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think, we're going to have to start talking now about the fact that maybe you can build a 6-7 figure business over 5 years, maybe in this industry.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you'll start on day one as the entrepreneur. You might start in someone else's company, learn the ropes there, build yourself up. Yeah. Which, again, in other industries, this is what happens, right? Like the Elon and these guys were all, they were all working in, they all did like PayPal.
They started.
But many of them, bad example, but maybe the ones like there was few guys that were like, employees like 6 and 7 in Facebook. Yeah. And then they later branched off to make their own tech companies.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Only because they spent 3 years with Facebook, right? Yeah. And so this is more where in the coaching industry, the same thing might happen. You might spend 1 or 2 years working under Patrick, learn the ropes, and then you might go off in a direction as a consultant or mentor.
It's a very nice idea. It's a very nice perspective.
We are the ones building these infrastructures for people to do that with us.
I mean, you're doing it with the franchise gyms, but it's actually like a franchise coaching or something like that you could call it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why the franchise was so easy for us, is because through our gyms we had the proven prototype gym model. Yeah. But also because I had all my mentorship laid out, we simply plugged this in. Yeah. Most franchises don't get off the ground because they don't have the mentorship in place. Yeah. They've never taught people before. Yeah. Yeah. Again, they can give us, like, you can get a system saying here's how a restaurant works.
Well, it doesn't mean that you're gonna.
Doesn't mean you can do it.
No.
Whereas I already had the entire business mentorship business ready to go. We just literally infused that in. Yeah. And then we had a super successful mentorship and onboarding and training
Yeah.
for new franchisees. So I've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And we fused those two things together because we saw that was where our strength was.
Yeah.
And so I think we're going to start looking at longer term, more patient, play the long game in this industry now if you're an expert or coach, because now everyone's an expert and coach on something.
Of course, yeah.
And the game is not over. I just think we have to have more serious conversations about really understanding the life cycle of this industry and what's realistic for most people.
It's adoption now. It's time to adapt on the developments that we're undergoing, as we just spoke. It's like to recap. It's like not only focusing on the high tier, one-to-one, high ticket clients, build a community, create a wider range, nurture yourself. Like, I think that's a super, super important point. Goes for every business. You can't just cherry pick, as you said. You can't just cherry pick. It's being innovative with your products or services. Think ahead of the value chain where you're in right now. Like, I think that's also a very important point. And collaborating / absorbing or franchising. Yeah. It's going to be very interesting, especially in this field, because it's saturated. There's going to be monopolization. A lot of businesses and experts, freelancers, consultants will perish.
If you're starting out right now, your chances are you're not going to be the one monopolizing.
Yeah.
That's already happened.
Yeah.
If you're getting into AI right now, like,
that's too late.
You know, or if it was like crypto and Bitcoin, well, you needed to invest in 2008, right?
Yeah.
If you've missed that boat, you got to play meme coins now.
Exactly.
That's riskier. It's harder. But that's, if you miss the curve, that's fine. New curves will come all the time. And only with this higher perspective now, we can actually see more of these things, though. And
it sounds at the end negative because there's a lot of challenges. But I think it's also important to emphasize that there's more options than ever, especially if you want to become a freelancer, an expert, a consultant, even an entrepreneur, because you have different paths to walk. As you said, 10, 15 years ago, there was nothing. Like, I remember when I had I'm going to open my first business. I'm going to become a freelancer first. Crazy, you're going to give up your secure job. I had one job before, was very well paid. Yeah, let's do it.
I think most coaches and experts, you can put them into three categories, right? And you've probably seen the same thing with your clients. You've got the ones that are true entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They don't care what they're doing. They just want to run the company. They'll outsource easily.
Yeah.
Whatever field they're in. You've got the guys then that want to be, that are purely teachers and coaches.
Yeah.
Like, they just want to be the ones that coach and teach stuff.
Yeah.
They want to work with clients or make content.
But they don't want to have the business
sell.
side.
I don't want to take big entrepreneurial risks. I don't I don't want to have to go and raise capital. I don't want to have to be responsible for all this stuff. I don't have to pay salaries. Okay. So you'll be a very good teacher, but you won't make that much money. So, and then you got people that I think excel more in the sales and marketing side of things.
Yeah.
And they're just really good at selling something, but their technical ability is not that great. And they tend to get a bit overwhelmed at the entrepreneurial stuff. They have a go at it, but they don't have they've got the salespeople are more impulsive and in the moment usually. They can't fathom things like value chains and things like that.
Yeah.
The entrepreneurs are the ones who have a good balance in the middle.
They're balanced in all fields.
We're the master generalists.
Yeah.
We know just enough about each thing to be dangerous.
But nowhere we are an expert.
So if you identify which of those three general areas, there are more nuances, but in general, if you're in one of those areas, this is where you can find your strength and apply yourself in that field, whether it's tech or fitness or life coaching, relationships, whatever it is. So, if you are purely a teacher level person, you want to teach and make content, that's where that person can come and help you, teach for you, make content for you.
Yeah. And you take the entrepreneurial risk from
or they can even have a business where they provide that service to you.
Yeah. Franchise too.
So just because you have that experience in that field doesn't mean you have to be the teacher of it.
Yeah.
You can know enough to go and sell it for somebody else. you know, or so there's lots of options and flexibility like that.
options.
If you just find, don't get too hung up on what the industry is and the expertise, but what's your like main execution skill, I call it. Either you're a builder, like an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
you're a salesperson who's good with people, or you're a technician who's good with teaching content, but not really engaging or selling or networking.
Yeah.
And there's networking, is not the networker is the other person
True.
who is just a people person.
Yeah.
They will like know everyone, they'll connect everyone for you.
It's important. Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you're a networking person, like I know guys like this in real estate who can sell a bit of real estate, can market a bit. But when it comes to networking, they're the man. Like everyone knows them. And I'm like, bro, like I talked to a friend of mine, he's like, you need to step into that. Be the networker.
Yeah.
Be the broker of people to who need you, and you'll make more money from deal flow in the middle
Yeah.
than you will trying to sell a house.
I think like what people misunderstand are their core skills and strengths a lot of time, because it's a misperception what you want to be and what you actually are. Maybe that doesn't sound too correct while saying, doesn't mean that you can't change, but some people, as you just say, they're people person. Some people are very technical. There's always a chance to change to work, but that's a big transitional change. Like this is nothing that's going to happen. I've seen IT people being the most introverted people. They made somehow the change to being also like trying to be extroverted. But you need to focus on your strengths, right? If you are good at, for example, in your IT field, does not necessarily mean you have to take all risk of becoming an entrepreneur. You can have a smooth freelancing business on your own. You can be, as you say, you can also run your business in another business and making your money. There's different options, but it's these days I have a feeling it's either or. Either you're a 9-to-5 employee or you're an entrepreneur. There's nothing in between. Like it's black or white.
I look at it like, and the rewards and payoffs are different. So I'm not saying everyone will get to 7 figures this way, but like we said, not everyone wants to, really. But I think there's like, again, the identity, they get fixed on what the topic is. Well, I'm in tech, so I have to be a tech founder. Like, no, you don't. You can be a tech content creator. You can be a tech salesperson, tech networker.
Yeah.
So I've met business coaches who are struggling to get their business coaching off the ground because I'm like, why can't you do, and they're like, well, I've got to make reels and I've got to do content, but they're a pure networking person. They're always out having like 5 coffees a day with people.
Yeah.
And they're just meeting. It's like what you clearly love to do, what you're good at and comes effortlessly to you is going and meeting with people.
Yeah.
If I try and get a person to sit behind and plan a webinar, they're like, can't do it.
No.
So it's like, stop trying to fight the resistance, go with what the flow is.
Yeah.
And I said to this one instance, who was struggling for like 2 years to make it as a business coach. He had a successful business before, somewhat, not like massive, but he did okay. Enough to be a good business coach, he knew enough.
Yeah.
And he was just struggling with this side of it, of content and webinars and follow-ups. But he had no problem like setting up all these meetings all the time with people. And I was like, well, what are you getting out of it? He's like, nothing. I just saw this person on LinkedIn and connected with him because I thought it'd be cool. And I was like, well, make that your thing.
Yeah.
And then he started actually, he said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, why don't you just start hosting business networking events?
Yeah.
Like, get everyone together. Yeah. Instead of meeting 5 people individually a day, get 20 people a week together.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I would hate to do that. Like, I really hate networking events, right?
It's
not my thing, right? But this guy loves it. Everyone loves him. So then, literally within 1 month, he has like 300 people at his networking events.
Crazy.
And then he's like, now you just need to charge a subscription.
Yeah.
And he's doing this in Spain, in Marbella.
Yeah.
So in Marbella doing this.
Amazing.
And there's a business club then of like 300 people in a month.
It's amazing, yeah.
And it was easy for him. And I'm like, how the hell do you do that? And he's like, well, I just got my phone, I contacted this person, I went to meet my friend, I asked him for like 5 people, I called them up. He'll just call anyone. like no filter. Literally just like, you know, he would say to you like, oh, hey, do you know, this Christian tech guy? Okay, great. Oh, hey, Christian, yeah, just met Patrick here. We need to meet up. Love what you're doing, man. Like, you know, all genuine.
Yeah.
This looks really good. I'd love to connect with you. Can I take you for a coffee sometime? I know a great little Muse beach club. I'll take you there.
Yeah.
Have you been to this place? Oh, I'll take you, man. And he would just do that. People are just like loving this guy.
You're always playing a strength.
Then he's like, I'm putting an event on. Everyone wants to be there. He's prospecting and selling every day, but to him, he's having coffee with people.
Yeah.
Thinks he's got the best job in the world.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
okay, granted, he's not going to take that to like a 7-figure thing immediately, but he's making better money than he was business.
And he's
coaching.
happy.
Yeah. And that's just an example of when you play to your strengths like that,
Yeah.
you can't force. Now, an entrepreneur, on the other hand, so you can make good money as a solopreneur, I think.
Yeah.
If you do what you're good at and comes naturally and easily and effortlessly to you.
Yeah.
And I always say you'll make 6 figures doing what you love.
Yeah.
But you only make 7 figures doing things you hate.
Yes. Absolutely.
So if you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to go 7 figures, great. You're going to give up those comforts though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have to get out.
And so I say there is no judgment or shame or preference in either one of these things. And I think, and you've got to remember, making 6 figures is doctor level money,
Yeah.
right? You're in the top 10% of earners just by having a networking thing or a little business practice.
Yeah.
And you've got to have gratitude for where you're at. And like you said, not be caught up with all the other influencers online telling you you have to make 9 figures in 14 days and all this stuff. And if you don't, you're a brokey loser.
Yeah.
If you can make 6 figures, if you make $8,000 a month doing something you enjoy in 5 hours a day, you've won at life.
You've won for sure.
You fucking won. Everything else is just side missions now.
That's true. That's true.
And that's why I think like being an entrepreneur, no one talks about this, is that sometimes people talk about the fact that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. But I also think it's a journey you have to take knowing it's going to be fucking tough.
Yeah.
And because you're literally aiming to be top 1%.
Yeah. You have to like the journey.
The internet has made it possible for most people to become top 10%.
Yeah.
But the stuff the internet and tech can't give you, which is emotional intelligence, dexterity, perseverance, a little bit of craziness, probably, a little bit of trauma in life.
Yep, definitely.
That's what gets people to 7, 8, 9 figures, top 1%.
And that's interesting, that you find outside of the internet. That's network, good mentors, meeting people.
And I think I think something that all us guys have is just a chip on our shoulder. We need to prove something to someone.
Yeah. Maybe to ourselves.
I don't think you have to like so traumatize, like your uncle didn't have to finger your butthole or anything like that.
No.
But like we need some kind of upbringing which is completely random.
Right? I
right?
don't know where it's coming from.
Like Gary Vaynerchuk says, you can't teach entrepreneurship. It has to come from a chip on your shoulder
Yeah.
and a desire to prove something.
Yeah.
Whether you're an immigrant and you came from a war-torn country and you are so grateful for the opportunities in the West that you then weren't afraid of hard work like everybody else was, or maybe you were estranged from one of your parents and you're looking for validation from a long-lost father or something, whatever.
Can all be?
I think there's far too much stuff going on about healing it and releasing the energy, and I'm like, fucking don't. Keep that and use it to become very fucking rich.
Yeah. You can use all these emotions.
Because if you get rid of all that, you have not got the chip on your shoulder. If you've got nothing to prove anymore, I think we're given these challenges, these deficits as a gift so that we slingshot and do something fantastic in the world. And so choosing to be the entrepreneur, you're going to do things you hate.
Yeah.
Just like being, same as being an Olympic athlete. Like, oh, it looks really fun, but they train like 6 hours a day. They have to eat like 10, 12,000 calories.
Yeah.
They have to do all these,
That's what the people don't see.
It's 4 years of work. I used to train athletes, so I know this, like it's 4 years of work to do a 10-second race.
Yeah.
And if you come second, there's no console. There's no like, oh, you came second.
Yeah.
It's like done, and you can't prove it again for another 4 years.
Yeah. That's
if
tough.
you're even going to be young enough to do it then.
Yeah.
And I would tell these athletes, the number one mindset skill, you have to be obsessed with the process.
Yeah.
and detach from the outcome.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is the one thing most people find so hard to do.
Yeah.
And it is hard. But if you're an entrepreneur and you want to take on all that for whatever reason, and again, I don't think there's a financial gain. I don't think there's anything external like Lambos. This stuff we might think is why we're doing it.
Yeah.
Or in the beginning, it doesn't really drive people though. There's all these they might think that's what it is, but I know I've met enough entrepreneurs to know there's a chip on their shoulder,
Yeah.
an insecurity,
Yeah.
an itch that needs to be scratched.
Yeah.
That's why they do what they do,
Yeah.
whether they consciously or unconsciously
Yeah.
realize it.
Yeah.
And because we get the sports cars,
Yeah.
it lasts 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and then the toys are like, oh, that was fun, but I don't really care about that anymore.
Still go on. Yeah.
What keeps you going?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would just achieve $1 million,
Yeah.
get a Lambo, and then retire.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
drive
it's
my Lambo into the sunset now. No, that doesn't.
not the
happen.
goal. It's not the goal, right?
And so, yeah, that's what I say about entrepreneurship is if you really want to go that level, that's where it's going to take. You've got to have a deep-seated reason to do it.
Yeah.
And you've got to be, like I said, obsessed with the process, extremely more disciplined than anyone you know in your life.
Yeah.
Your life is going to suck.
Yep.
There's no such thing as balance.
Nope.
You're going to miss parts of your kids'
lot.
lives. You're
Yeah.
not always going to be there for your family.
Yeah.
And you just have to be willing to say, is that something I'm really going to accept?
Yeah.
Or maybe I could be happy making 6 figures, doing something I enjoy, a bit more comfortable,
Yeah.
and, be okay with that.
Yeah.
I think we need to have more room for that now
Yeah.
and say like, that's okay as well.
Completely agree.
Or if you even achieve the 7-8 figures
Yeah.
first, then you exit,
Yeah.
then maybe you get into a 6-figure semi-retirement
Yeah.
gig.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't have to be like, oh, I did 7 figures my last company.
No need
Now I
age.
have to do 8
Yeah.
or I'm a stupid loser.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not true. That's
Yeah.
not true. Yeah, but nobody's talking about that, right? It's like it's either or. It's black or white, and I like the metaphors, like some guy on your shoulder, some inner itch or something like that. There is something. It's hard to explain.
Like
if
we're
you think-
crazy.
Yeah, it's some. Not
You can't
needs to be-
explain to
yeah,
people, but it's
yeah.
like, no, I have to do this. Why? I don't have to though.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, there's-
I can't.
There's a reason. You might not even be able to explain why. You just do it. You just do it day in, day out, day in, day out.
What Adrian Maslow, from the Maslow hierarchy of needs,
yeah,
says like
yeah,
that. His philosophy on life is that, whatever a man can be, he must be.
Yeah.
So you will just know, and people have asked me that, like, why do you want to achieve like this? And I say, because I think I can.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Yeah. 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 That's
Because I think it's possible, because I know that's my potential.
Yeah.
I have to do it.
Maybe
Otherwise,
it's living-
you wouldn't go to the gym and do 5 push-ups and go home again.
No. No.
Because you're like, well, I can do more.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same.
That sometimes is the only reason that we need.
It's living to. I think it's a human. It's a human urge, in my opinion. So especially as a man, I would say is like you want to be the best, and whatever is best. It's
Yeah.
it's discussable. The best version of yourself, living up to your potentials. Like if you can sense I can achieve a certain goal, it gives you enough energy to try to achieve that goal. It's not that reaching the goal is always. It's always the journey towards. Otherwise, you would stop and say, "Oh, well, I'm done now." You're never done. Look at Elon Musk. I mean, he is. I don't know. He's $1 billion every day. He built the craziest, most successful company. He is still going on. He's neglecting everything else. He has 20 kids. But he's sacrificing.
I always use them as an excuse to get perspective. I get overwhelmed with something. If I'm like, oh, I've got so much stuff to do. I've got all these things.
Yeah.
I've got this new webinar to build. I just think, you know what? I'm getting stressed.
Yeah.
Elon Musk has 20 kids and is trying to build a rocket to go to space.
How does he do that?
I have not got hard work to do.
Nah, that's true.
I can do a few webinar slides.
That brings you in perspective. Yeah, I personally would love really to see how that guy is working. I say that all the time. It's like amazing. But yeah, he has an itch, he has an urge.
So to backtrack, one thing I wanted to ask you about as well today, going back to a loop from earlier, was when you brought a mentor in to help you scale up the business to make it sellable. So what are a couple of things you could say that increase a business's equity value that help you the most?
Definitely expanding to other countries.
Okay.
Shifting the cash flow away from Germany was one main factor because of the taxation, obviously. So
Are you talking about the benefit was getting away from Germany, or
Yeah.
you mean is being in multiple countries wherever you are? Is a benefit of that?
both. So having different business units and later on a holding over the daughters, what you made it possible to shift the revenue stream, thus decrease tax in the high tax countries, make more profit,
Right.
and have a higher sale.
Getting into the low tax countries
Exactly.
specifically
Yeah.
then is
Cyprus,
yeah.
Poland,
Yeah, it makes it more attractive to
Ukraine.
invest.
I mean, there were years, for example, in Germany, you pay yourself a CEO salary. You paid whatever high taxes. So what I did over years, and it's completely legal, I had my own business as a solopreneur. It's called private entrepreneurship in Ukraine. It's 5%.
Yeah, you don't own anything.
Nothing. So you get your salary over your business unit. So I mean, all these kind of things is possible. You increase the margin, your profit of your business, like so high that obviously the value of the whole company group increases significantly. So that was one thing. Luckily, we started from day one to have a delivery center for nearshoring resources in Poland straight away, and then Ukraine, and that was a boost. I would say that even with COVID and everything happening, that gave us incredible boost. That was one thing. Really think further or out of the box, like not just remain in your country where you are. Think about what's possible. How can you optimize your business just with a couple of screws that you're twisting? That was one big factor. Took obviously administrational effort. And one thing I think I shared it on the last podcast as well with Fabian or not, I don't know, is like I remember my mentor saying when you need to go from, like, we were around 50 and we wanted to scale to 100, like what my mentor was telling me, so now is the time that you have to get rid of your whole staff and rebuild. It's the 2.0. And that was like, that took me, it was probably one of the hardest lessons really, till I eventually understood why he said that. It took me such a long time, like these loyal people, to building the 2.0 foundation.
Yeah.
That was a tough one because you raise them up partially and you let them go. And that's a tough one.
And that's because you were the one mentoring them up to a point, but then at 50 to 100, I suppose you need people that can mentor you.
Exactly. You need the experts because you hit a plateau. It's between 25 and 50 people, just talking about 50, because from 50 you're building a matrix organization, so that the company structure is changing dramatically. And you can't mentor all the people. Now you need the experts.
People have 20 years experience.
You need
their
them.
shit,
Finance,
six-figure
sales,
salaries,
and all that stuff. So otherwise you're stagnating. How do you want to do that otherwise? So that's, and you need to let go of other people.
I think that's probably a massive bottleneck. I think I spoke about this in a podcast, like scaling from 7 to 8 figures. I think that's a bottleneck for so many companies that get to that level, is probably that they don't even know they need to replace the staff, and they're trying to they're trying to make it work with the staff,
with what they have.
and
it's just limited.
The knowledge gap is just too big then, and
that was a big learning.
So they said to you, replace all the staff, before you get your valuation. And
yes, it was a process. We worked on a couple
How
of
long
years.
did that take you though?
Replacing the staff?
Yeah. How many staff were we talking about?
I think we let go around, we were at 50. I think we let go around 20.
Yeah.
And then while letting go, we brought new people up, but it was unproportional because we brought more people up.
Right.
We partially bought teams out of companies. Like instead of getting one, we got 10.
Yeah.
It was a functioning team that brought whole experience.
And they onboard fast.
And they were just like,
tell you how to onboard them.
It's actually like a franchise. You brought a functioning team for whatever kind of IT piece, consulting or whatever. You brought in a team. You got the customers.
Collaboration effect, isn't it?
It's your company brand over, and then good to go. That helped. That was just I would say emotionally tough because I had problems doing that, but eventually had to actually work. Was very, very fortunate for that advice, for sure. Oh, that was tough though. I think that was one of me. I mean, we prepared for a long, long time. Keeping your books clean. I think that was like that's
Getting your books clean.
or getting your books clean. Don't have any corpses in the cellar. I mean, how much weird stuff we were doing on the books over the years. So you kind of need to get
A lot of reconciliation.
yeah. So those kind of things that you need time. It's like
It's a horrible feeling, I know, when you're talking to potential investors,
Yeah.
and they spend more on their accountant than you pay yourself.
yes, and then
You think you're the big dog CEO. They're like, my accountant, who gets paid more than you, is going to review your books. You're like, oh,
shit. Yeah.
my fuck.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that was. Yeah, but getting that clean. That's why we, at that point, also we hired a whole like finance department. We opened up a real finance department with a woman I remember that was leading the finance department from KPMG. Who really like it was a complete different culture.
Was this one of the new hires you brought in?
Yes, exactly. It's like completely like now we need a real ERP
You're
system.
bringing in the new staff to help you with the overall operation transition.
But obviously, in order,
Actually bringing those in, adds to the value of
Yeah.
the sale.
Yeah.
Just
and obviously it increased the whole company as a whole. You had a finance and accounting team, not just an assistant who did things. Like now you were told, well, you need to do it like that. Before, like I'm doing it like this. That's obviously not going to work. Sales, marketing. I mean, if you really have built up a team, now you're bringing in high-paid experts. It's a game changer as
bringing
well.
marketing in-house. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we all in every aspect, keeping it in-house and not outsourcing was as well a game changer. Because especially the recruiting and hiring, that was one thing. Because we used to recruit and hire via agencies as well, but we ended the bigger we got. So for in the IT consulting world, you pay an average 25,000 just for the recruiting fee for one hire.
Okay.
Because they get 100 plus thousand euros.
About 20%.
Yeah, 25. Yeah, and obviously you're limited doing that, and limited growth equals limited scalability. So then one of our mentors also said, like, okay, build your recruiting team. We'll do it now. It took us 1 year to build. First half year really to recruit the recruiting team. We set it up mostly in Ukraine, German-speaking guys, low salary, great skills, great mentality. So we built up. We had 2-3 people doing nothing else 24/7 and finding people for us. And after half a year, we got more people and better people than the recruiting agency. So we outrun and obviously that worked very, very well because we had no costs.
Yeah.
And that was very, very important to keep it in-house because basically every IT consulting company is outsourcing that. And you can end up paying every time 25K, but it's gonna hurt. That was definitely one. And making the company very valuable it's a classic recurring revenue. Recurring revenue because every IT consulting company is chasing time and material, invoices, everything is based on the hour. Like just 2-3 clients, they summarize 80% of their revenue. They have whatever kind of problems. Right now, Volkswagen, I know several companies who their main customer is Volkswagen. They have a crisis. What they're doing, they're not paying the bills for the service providers. So you have no revenue because contracts are not in place. So what we did, recurring revenue. First of all, software subscriptions. Be reselling Microsoft licenses, for example. That was, it doesn't get easier. Selling licenses is the easiest thing on the world.
Yeah.
And you have a margin. You buy it cheaper and you sell it more expensive and you're still cheaper than what you buy if you buy it directly from Microsoft.
Tech solutions.
And it's so easy. There's nothing. What's the effort? And then productizing or standardizing the service offering, as I'm always preaching. I mean, this year you can really see that so many other experts is copying this as well. And you were saying this is nothing new in other industries, but it is completely new.
You just mean like putting your
Yeah,
operating procedures, operating
exactly.
manual,
Instead of saying, see,
systemizing everything.
you have a Microsoft Dynamics sales system, which is introducing a sales system to your company. And instead of going to a client and say, what do you want? Like, give me your requirements. Like, client doesn't know the requirements. So what do? You spend weeks to months working on the requirements, unpaid. You're estimating, and you already know it's not going to be like that because he can't require. So it's a back and forth of lying. And what we did, we just said, you know what, we're going to standardize everything. So everything that we're introducing, a big, complex software introduction, implementation project, let's take the complexity out. It's not complex. We know what we are doing. Standard package A, 15 days, 15K, instead of sales cycle back and forth. We did that with everything we had. And voila, we can open doors to new clients because all we need to do is what you also said at the beginning. You need to know the problems of your clients, and obviously your product or your service already has the solution. So what the main three factors in IT consulting or IT development: time, budget, what do I get out of for a business perspective? What's the business benefit? And I'm not saying, what I'm telling my clients, the business benefit is not, I have a cool new system. With that new cool system, you increase your sales of the company by 10%, just to give you
full time.
Exactly. So that's what we did in the standardized package. Just we answered, pre-answered, or gave the solutions to the problems we know they already have. Obviously, the selling is easier because there's not much selling to need to be done. It's a no-brainer.
Well, they say you're right. I mean, I learned this from a relationship coach I worked with years ago, and the coach in New York, and it she said once, I think she learned from someone else, but the thing in relationships they say is like a good partner in a relationship will ask what the person needs. A great partner will already know what the person needs.
That's good, yeah.
I realize that translates over to marketing and sales, right?
Yeah.
If you have to ask someone,
Yeah.
I see this post online all the time. Someone gets in, you can tell someone's new to the coaching industry, and they put a post in a Facebook group. Tell me, what are your challenges?
Yeah, what are your challenges?
I'm like, bro, shouldn't you know?
Yeah.
You're the expert. Shouldn't you know what your customers' challenges are? Like, what are you even selling?
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, when you go in with like, hey, most people struggle with this, this, and this. If that's you, you might want to be interested in this. Yeah, that's really good. So, good takeaways there on getting the equity value. And then, can you share like what multiple you guys had?
We had a multiple of 8.
8.
Yeah.
Wow, so
that was
way above average.
Yeah, that was good. It was also it's possible to get a lot higher, especially in the T consulting and T development sphere. But it was good. It was definitely.
And how many years were you guys since you founded?
2015.
Okay, until when did you exit?
21.
21. So 5-6 years.
Yeah.
So not bad.
But
8 except 6 years.
If you're taking the whole journey, that was the company group before I had a different business that I fused into this group later on. So that journey began 2011. Yeah. And shortly before I was the freelancer. So that's basically, I would say that's the whole journey. Before I had that was a pure Microsoft focused business. Before I had an SAP business. And for some while, we were running it in parallel, but that's the classic, you're not focused. Is it the one or the other? It's two different worlds. It worked for some point, but also understanding, okay, I want to scale. I can't scale both, so let's fuse it together. And then that worked out pretty well, and that's how we got there. Oh.
Amazing. Check the time.
I've absolutely no idea what time is it. It's
1 o'clock.
1
I
o'clock.
have to wrap up. Yeah, Sarah's checked out of the hotel already. She's waiting at the beach.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to cover or go over?
Think we shared a lot today, huh? Yeah. No, I'm good. What about you?
No.
Yeah.
Plenty to digest there. Learn a lot as always.
Me too.
But yeah, thanks, man.
As usual, was a pleasure. Thanks, man.
All right.
Perfecto.